always have time for Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network analyst and a former NFL scout. He hosts Move the Sticks podcast on NFL.com and iTunes. NFL Network provides only 79 hours of live draft coverage beginning Monday, April 27th. Daniel Jeremiah back with us. I keep reading where we're reevaluating running backs here, that we're starting to value running backs again, Daniel. Is that true?
Well, I think in this draft, Dan, we have two guys that are going to be higher graded than anybody we've had in the last few years. And then you add that up with, a first round that features, 12 or 15 guys outside the running back position that get you really fired up. So I think teams are sitting there saying, well, you can say the running back position has been devalued, but we feel like we got a sure thing with Gurley and Gordon, whereas outside of that, we go to another position. There's really not much difference between that guy we could take in the first round versus the guy we could take in the second.
But what I don't understand is if I look at a lot of these playoff teams, their success was complemented or predicated by their running attack. Certainly with Seattle. New England had a versatile running game. Dallas had a very good running game. Philadelphia, I don't know. Is there a correlation between being a good team and having at least a legitimate running back?
Well, I think absolutely. And I think that a lot of people in the NFL paid attention to that. And I would say not even just the running game, but, the running backs, I would say just being good up front. That's kind of the oldest trick in the book. Be good on both the offense and defensive lines. You're going to have a good football team. And that's why, like a team like the Rams, so we could say, look, they don't have a really number one receiver, Dan. But when you look at Jeff Fisher, why not just go ahead and take another offensive lineman? You've built up the defensive line over the last few years. You take Greg Robinson last year. Why not get another offensive lineman this year? And then you won't be so dependent on whoever's playing quarterback.
I like Gurley a lot, and I like Melvin Gordon. I think Gurley can be a home run. I think Melvin Gordon is a guy that I know I got to stand up double, and maybe he stretches it into a triple there. Is that a fair assessment of these two guys?
Yeah, that's accurate. That's very accurate. And it's funny to use that baseball analogy because Ozzie Newsome used to always say in the draft room, "Hey guys, let's not swing for the fences. I don't need home runs in the first round. Let's just get doubles. Okay, no strikeouts in the first round. Doubles are good."
I like that. Do you think Tampa Bay knows what they're doing? They've already made up their mind?
I think so. I think so. To me, it just seems like, okay, you've got Jameis, who they've done all their homework on, and they feel comfortable with everything that they've found out about him, and they're going to make him the number one pick. But because you've had some issues in the past, let's take this thing all the way to the wire before you announce it, because the last thing you want to do is have that big press conference and say, "Yep, we've decided, we've made our decision. Jameis Winston's our guy." And then a week from now, something comes out, or he were to do something and get in trouble, and then you got to walk it back. That would be no good.
Does it hurt? Did it hurt his status at all, or the perception of him that it appears as if he's lied a couple of times over what happened at that supermarket with the crab legs? Was he lying to Jim Harbaugh in what was supposed to be a complete transparency interview? Did he lie to Florida State? Did he lie to everybody about that? He can't get his story straight. Would that bother you at all?
That particular situation doesn't, because months ago, and talking to scouts that did their homework on this, they told me this exact same story he told Jim Harbaugh, that he had a hookup. He had a hookup at the Publix, and that he walked out of the store assuming, after being told that he was good to go. Hey, some free food, you're good. It was never a situation where he was, trying to jam crab legs in his jacket and sneak out the back door. It was just a hookup that he had there. And then people say, well, why would he just come out and say that publicly? Well, because if he does that, now he's thrown his university under the bus, and then now you got the NCAA involved. So in some ways, he almost kind of took one for the team.
But why? He could have taken one for the team by doing the following. You know what? It's my bad. I made a silly, immature mistake when I walked out. Instead of now that employee that they're going to try to track down, now you look at it, and it was an NCAA violation, even though it's very, very small. But I think he made it worse by doing this. Instead of saying, I never hear the kid just say, it's my fault. It was me. I did it. It was, hey, somebody else did this. It just feels like there's a blame game going, and I would want him to say, look, I screwed up. I'm not going to put this on anybody else. I made a mistake. Maybe I trusted some people and I shouldn't have, but it's on me.
Well, I mean, look, that's the absolute best thing he could have said, and I don't know whether this makes you feel good or not, but you and Jim Harbaugh go from the same school of advice on this topic, Dan. So that's exactly what Harbaugh said in that interview. Hey, all you got to say is, I screwed up in some colorful language, and that would have been the best option for him.
Yeah.
But in terms of trying to logically explain why he did why he went the route that he did, I think it has to do with the NCAA stuff.
And I do have khakis on, so I do relate to Jim Harbaugh. We're talking to Daniel Jeremiah, the NFL Network, former NFL scout. I feel like there's a whole lot of intrigue for Mariota, even though if Jameis Winston is considered the best quarterback, it seems like more teams are trying to position themselves for Mariota. Why is that?
Well, I think most teams tend to agree that Jameis is a pretty much foregone conclusion to be the first overall pick, so that makes Mariota the target. And then, the funny thing about Mariota is I hear so many people tell me he's going to be the second pick. It's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be Tennessee, but somebody's coming up to get him.
Yeah.
And then the people I talk to at teams, how do you feel about Mariota? Oh, we really like Mariota. Do you love Mariota? We don't love him, but we really like him. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly who this team is that's gonna trade all this, all these draft picks to go up and get him.
Well, what if he falls, though?
Everybody says it.
Do you think he could fall?
I don't think so, just because, there's so many teams that are mentioned. If it was one team, Dan, you could say, okay, maybe this team's snowing everybody, But there's 4 and 5 teams that are mentioned. I mean, are all 5 of them? Is all this stuff out there totally bogus? I mean, I guess there's a chance that's
okay,
the case,
but who is lying to us right now?
Oh, just about everybody. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are lying. I just
was it easier to say who's telling the truth?
Here's my favorite. This is my favorite part of this time of year, Dan, is talking to GMs and personnel buddies around the league, and you figure out who they like when you go, hey, tell me, what's your take on Fowler? Oh, Fowler, love Fowler. He does this, that, or the other. What's your take on this guy? I love him. Yeah, what's your take on Danny Shelton? Well, got to run. I'll catch you later.
They don't want to lie to you.
No,
if they're your friend. Yeah.
They just bail.
Yeah, nice. First 3 picks will be Winston,
I think
Mariota.
Yep.
Fowler.
And I think Fowler. I'm not personally as high on Vic Beasley as some others, but there is a lot of buzz on him, and he reminds me a lot of Bruce Irvin. And Bruce Irvin obviously went to Seattle, and you've got the connection with Gus Bradley there. He'd be a perfect fit for that position in their defense. So maybe that could be a little bit of a surprise at 3.
Thanks, bud. I know you got a busy week. We'll check in with you again. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
That's Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network. His Twitter handle is @MoveTheSticks.